All right, guys, what's going on?
Start already?
Yeah, we started. You need to fucking throw that away. Okay, what are you doing?
I threw my gum and it missed.
Oh.
Pick it up, bitch.
Well, I fucking told you.
All right, guys, it is your boy Gonzo with another episode of Happy Hour Hangouts. Today I have the pleasure of chatting with my boy Ed. Ed, what's going on, buddy?
What's up, brother?
Thank you for coming on the podcast. Cheers. Oh yeah, cheers. You know we like to drink out here and chill, so. It's your second time on the pod, dude.
My thoughts and opinions do not reflect the viewpoints of my employer.
Hey,
whatever
like
that may be.
Like how fucking Lino would say, "Oh, bro's media trained."
Media train, bro.
For real. You need to, dude. Like that's the thing that sucks sometimes is like you want to go on the net and just say a bunch of shit.
Everything's a brand.
But you gotta also be able to like back your shit up. In regards of like, you know, I mean, I could say a bunch of controversial ass shit, but if I say like, oh, you know, but I don't know this, I don't know that, then it kind of saves you. But yeah, Ed, so the title
like
of
Bryce Mitchell?
Yeah. Well, dude, did you watch, and I was literally going to go into
I saw a little bit of it, but he started off the whole shit with like a fat disclaimer. He was like, I just want to say everything that I'm about to tell you right now that, you know, has been done by my own research, not the things that are taught to you in books through school. Like, this was all independent research that I found to be, and he said some of them were facts, whatever. And it's like, I guess, like, what I like about him, I mean, again, not saying I don't agree with him. I don't, but at the same time, I also don't know what he's talking about. But he's like, you know, he's vindicated with this shit, you know? Like, he sticks by it. He's about it. You know, believes what he believes. And, you know, that's what it is. Like, he'll back it. Mm-hmm. And if he tells you something, he'll tell you something with substance, with context, you know? He'll tell you something and he explains why he believes, you know, whatever claim that is. It's like he doesn't just sell you fucking gluten-free ice cream and tell you why you should eat it, you know? Yeah,
he tries his best to back his shit up.
Yeah, he doesn't just say like, oh yeah, this is right because, you know, it's right because it sounds right. Like, he's like, no, it's because this, and that. So it's like, all right.
And see, and that's where I could like respect his level of what he was trying to do with that clip. Obviously, it went south. And rightfully so. I mean, you just said it right now, and I agree with you, dude. I don't agree with anything of what he said. I mean, I don't even want to go into that Hitler shit, but him just giving that disclaimer at the beginning kind of tells you what kind of a person he is. Like, he didn't mean it with bad intention. He didn't mean it with, like, he holds this shit dear and true to his heart, you know, and all this shit. Like, he says it with some backup that he had. Yeah. And I'm sure he's also too of the mindset that he's open that if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Like, I'm fucking sorry. But that's like the problem sometimes nowadays with like cancel culture and freedom of speech on the web is that people are so quick to jump the gun and to like want to shoot
shit on them.
Yeah. That they don't kind of watch the whole clip and decide for themselves. They kind of just follow the trend and shit like that. Yeah. So, I mean, again, I'm not saying I back up his claims. I'm not saying anything, but you got to take that shit at your own value, and you got to do your own research, and then you ultimately are the one that's gonna have your own opinion.
That's another thing on why I like the UFC, because they're just like Dana's not he's not a Vince McMahon. He's not he doesn't pull. I mean, he pulls strings obviously, but he like not every fighter is his puppet. Yeah, and the bigger fighters he probably has a say, but like people like Bryce Mitchell, I mean, he said himself, I can't control him. Yeah, you know, you could watch him getting beat the fuck up. That's it. But he might not get beat the fuck up. That's the only thing, too. Yeah. But, like, I love the UFC. Sometimes I don't love, like, the fandom of it because he goes to his press conference. And Bryce Mitchell used to be, like, a fan favorite, bro. People like him. I mean, I like him. I still do. You know, as a fighter in general, like, he's still a really good fighter, you know? Mm-hmm. And he's not, like, a fucking completely shitty person. Yeah. Like, he hasn't, like, killed somebody, you know? Yeah. Like, all he's done is just state his beliefs, why he believes it. He doesn't, like, push it on people just because. And, you know, he's not at the bar slapping people. Anyways, people just boo him now just for the fuck of it because it's cool, you know? Like, anytime, and that's the thing, like, with social media, too. It's like, anytime, like, a narrative gets set on a person, like, that shit flies. Yeah. And it flies. And it's like we were saying, media trained. These guys aren't media trained, you know? They probably do have seminars and classes, not all of them do it. They don't have to do it.
No, and that is true because I remember, I think I listened to a podcast with Juliana Pena, and they have like workshops with social media and stuff. Yeah. And I mean, it's workshops with like TikTok and how they could, you know, be more viral and like little things for like sound bites and clickbait and all that shit. But I'm sure also too within that those classes, they have to give them some sort of like how you say like or fucking Lionel, but media train, you know. Yeah. And it's like, bro, like honestly, this shit that I've done with Happy Hour Hangouts, the shit that I've done with Dunzo Danino, and even the shit that, you know, we would do with Rear Naked Takes, bro, there's a level of media train that you need to either self-teach or learn from watching other people to, one, make you somewhat credible, but also to make you, like...
These are fucking good.
Watchable and you know, and entertain all the fucking...
The wintergreens?
Yeah, these are good.
You got this from Dubtown, from Washington, or what?
No, they sell these locally.
Oh, they do? I thought they can't sell flavor ones.
They
don't burn them out, bro.
They have orange flavor too. I don't know if you ever tried those. I think it's called citrus.
This is way better than the fucking smooth.
Yeah,
that smooth is not fucking smooth.
I like these only because they it's like gum. You know what I mean? And even whenever you're talking to me right now, I could smell it too. Like it's like if you're chewing gum. But pound for pound flavor wise though, I'd
fuck gum, bro. Fuck an Altoid.
Yeah, just fucking
wintergreen, baby.
Shout out Zen. Although I need to, before we continue, I need to
wait till that first fucking bot comes in. I'm gonna fucking shit on him so hard, dude.
I need to. I always forget whenever I do these. I forget to put the chat up here. What the fuck is it?
Oh. Top Triple H. Oh, you're gonna get copyrighted.
Oh, here we go. Sullivan.
Yo.
Yeah, it's Sullivan.
What's up, Sully? Tools.
The fuck is the pop out chat?
Right there, bro. It's right there.
My bad. I can't see. I don't
Damn,
have
you need these?
Maybe one day. All right, there we go. Now Ed can read all the chats as well. What up, Sullivan? Glad you could tap in, man. So Ed, there's obviously like topics that I really like to talk to you about, and UFC, dude. You're like the UFC master. You know what I mean? What I could really admire and acknowledge about.
I'm not fucking with it. I'm just
don't roll it, because then that's the gain. So if you pump it up, then they could hear us even louder, and I don't have the settings to that. If you lower it down, then they hear us even less. If you push it, it's mutes it.
Fucking lab, bro. It's a spaceship.
Yeah. So yeah, Ed, I was saying, there's one thing that I could like admire about your work is that you stay consistent with UFC, with fucking everything as far as MMA as well. So obviously we got UFC 313.
Have a beer, bro. Have one right fucking now.
Chicken Alfredo, yo,
right now, bro.
Shout out to the boys.
What up, Chicken Alfredo, Fettuccine Warrior.
So Ed, what right off top, Pereira, Ankalaev, to the casuals, I don't feel like this is a super crazy fight, but to people who enjoy watching MMA like you and me, obviously it's a striking versus essentially the ground game. Yeah. But I don't know if Ankalaev is as good as on the ground as people hype him up to be.
Like, the thing is with with Alex Pereira, the crazy shit is like we really watched like every single Alex Pereira fight.
Dude, we did.
But he hasn't had many. That's the thing. But it's because we knew who he was. You know, a lot of people did. They knew who he was. He came in, he did his shit, you know, he rose to the top. And like, obviously I love Alex Pereira. I've always, you know, been a fan of him. But I picked against him before, right? Like against Jamal Hill. I honestly thought Jamal Hill had a chance, you know, puncher's chance. Everybody has one.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Pereira did what he did. He slept him. And then he made easy work at a Yuri twice. So it's like, you can't really choose against a guy. It's not like I want to. And then this one too, it's like if I throw bias in there, obviously I'm gonna go with Pereira. But realistically speaking, it's like, fuck, dude, Magomed's. And it's funny too because they try so hard to stall him, to keep him busy, bro. They had him fighting Iwan Kudalaba like twice, right? twice. They had to fight him twice.
Yeah.
Because the first one, they stopped it too early. Second one, he dogged him again. They're feeding him all these people. Bro, they had to fight Johnny Walker twice. Because the first one, I think somebody got cut checked or eye poked or some shit. He didn't have to fight Johnny Walker again. He doesn't have to, you know?
Yeah.
He could have fought a Curtis Blades. Oh, wait. I'm thinking heavyweight. My bad. Yeah, he could have fought like Dominic Reyes. He ended up fighting Rakic, and he beat him. He could have fought a Jamal Hill. But obviously, like I said, they try to keep him busy. While on the other side, we had Pereira fucking knocking people out. Yeah. Flashy as fuck. And then he finally fights Jan for the title fight because it was, I think at the time, it was vacated by Jamal Hill. And then that's when it went to a majority draw. And the thing about that fight is, at the beginning, it's like, all right, he is striking, he is on his feet, but then Jan started fucking chopping the shit out of his leg. As soon as that happened, you know, Magomed's like, all right, my turn, you know? Yeah. Boom, took him down. 3 rounds of fucking straight control time, bro. 3 straight rounds, because he wanted to, because he could, and he kept him there. And we saw Alex fight Jan, and when Alex fought Jan, it was a pretty close fight. Jan probably could have won. A lot of people thought Jan won, you know? It was a close fight, but not... People weren't screaming robbery because they wanted to see Alex rise to the top.
That was his first fight at light heavy, and it was in Colorado, huh?
I think so.
Yeah, I remember. I think we watched that one together. Yeah. We were all like hyped for it.
And it was just like a whatever fight. You know, obviously Alex did what he did out of striking, but Magomed was able... Jan was able to take him down. So, but also, too, like, it's not like Pereira's grappling is shit. And he has a good corner. He has a good camp. He has Glover, you know? But it's just like with these wrestlers, Russian wrestlers, like, it's just we always get the same shit, bro, you know? And, you know, credit to Islam, because last time I was on here fucking praising that Dustin had a puncher's chance against Islam. But, I mean, credit to Dustin because he gave him a hard-ass fight, right? But still, you got to realize Dustin couldn't really box the way he boxes. Why? Because of the takedown threat. You know, the takedown threat always looming is what affects, because it's MMA, bro. Yeah, he can't just go in there with the bladed stance ready to just fucking throw hands. He has to be ready for it because he's smart, you know? It's a title fight. You're not just gonna go let it loose early on. So it's like, I don't think Alex Pereira's ground game is that like shitty. We just haven't really seen it. But, you know, we might be underrating it, but it doesn't matter at the end of the day because no matter what, I can guarantee it's not as high a level as fucking Magomed's because he grew up in fucking, Dagestan? Like, doing that. Yeah. They grew up doing that shit, bro. So it's like, if I'm going to choose, you know, I just choose how I choose. I mean, sometimes I can't really explain. I'm going to go Alex just because, you know, but it's like...
You wouldn't be surprised.
Fuck no, bro.
Hey, but you could hit him with the classic one-liner that I always hit.
Yeah, the fucking cop out. They're like, I want to see a good fight.
I just want to see a good fight. But it's that's all we.
It just goes either the two ways. You know, it's like either, you know, Alex, like, it's because I just don't see them playing too much like on the stand up. I don't see that happening. And this time I really don't.
He has no business doing so.
Yeah, and we saw it against Merab and Sean, and it's like, Sean puncher's chance and everything, but like we see Merab, bro, against Peter Yan, against Aldo, he doesn't fucking stop. And Magomed's not that same person. He's not like always in your face, but you know, you get heavier, they get stronger. So I feel like when he wants to take him down, he will be able to. Who knows? It might be a good fight. It could be like a really good fight, or it could be
really
3 rounds of control time. You know, but it's like if we're thinking control time, Magomed. If we're thinking knockouts, Pereira. You know, it's just one of the. It's a weird ass matchup. We don't know how it's gonna go. It's like when Islam was gonna fight Armin. It was like, okay, 2 really, really skilled grapplers. You know, highly skilled. So I was like, that's a good matchup. That's a good, because the first one they were going at it. I think people say that Armin gave him a hard ass time. He kind of did, but. You could tell Islam was just a little bit above him.
Bro, I wanted to see that fight.
It was just a good matchup, dude. Right? Yeah.
I feel like if you're a genuine fan of MMA and you enjoy the art and you understand how hard like wrestling could be, especially at that level, that was just a chess match for wrestling.
It would have been a chess match.
That's like Izzy versus Pereira at their prime. You know what I mean? But in wrestling.
Well, remember when Brandon Moreno fought Pantoja?
Oh yeah.
And their scrambles, like that shit was beautiful, bro. Yeah, it's like Pantoja get on top. Because usually the thing about MMA is like sometimes when you watch an MMA fight, you can see after that first like takedown attempt, like who's just stronger, who's more physically stronger, who's got it, right? And then you saw that, like when Islam fights people, it's like you just see that and it's like, okay, this is the kind of fight it's gonna be.
Yeah.
But then you see Pantoja and Moreno. Pantoja gets Moreno, takes him down, and then Moreno just explodes, pops back up, and then vice versa. You know, Moreno takes down Pantoja. Pantoja explodes. So it's like, damn, like we could have seen that with Armin and Islam. Might not have, but we could have.
That's what's so beautiful about that weight class, though, for the small guys.
Yeah,
bro,
everybody's kind of the same. Yeah,
dude, they're fucking gas tank. I feel like that division, as far as like pound for pound MMA skill goes, that has to be the most balanced. I feel like whenever you look at other like weight classes,
rear naked takes in the flesh. Yes, sir.
Yeah, fucking for the one
yes,
time.
Sir. For the one time.
If whenever you look at like light heavy, whenever you look at lightweight, there's always the fighter that's predominant striker, predominant wrestler, predominant jiu-jitsu, predominant whatever. But I feel like whenever you go all the way down to
flyweight, bantamweight too, yeah.
Those guys are so much more well-rounded, and
they can do everything. Their hand speed is quick. Their power, because they're all like 130, 140 at the time. Like they all have power for that division. You know, anybody could get slept. But yeah, you're right. The gas tank. Like when you watch Pantoja fight, you think he's fucking tired every single time. Like you're always like, man, this like he's tired. It's third round. He's like that the whole fight.
One thing about flyweight though that I have noticed, and I have yet to see, unless you can correct me on it, but knockout power, I like one hitter quitter. I don't know who. Like I said, I don't know if you know a fighter in the flyweight division that has
Kai France, I would say.
But to the like flatline, like sleep. With a punch. No kick.
He kinda slept Steve Ursig. And Ursig got popped, and then but then again, like there's guys down there that like shout out Matt Schnell. I love that guy. He's dangerous as fuck, but he always gets slept. Yeah. You know, so there's guys like him who make other people look a little bit more powerful than they might be. Because Ursig killed him, right? And again, shout out Matt Schnell. I'm not disrespecting him. You know, he's a cool guy, good fighter. But it's just what happened. Yeah. And then Ursig fights Pantoja, and I mean, he gave him a good fight. He couldn't sleep him though, you know. So it's like true as, I mean, I guess it just depends on your chin. Yeah. But like Kai Kara-France, he slept people.
I think Pantoja, bro, whenever he's hot, he's fucking hot, bro. He goes out there swinging. And then moving up to like the bantamweight division, the only one that had like really one hitter quitter power like that was Sean O'Malley. I mean, I don't know if he had like, well, yes, he did. There's plenty of fights that he's had where he like knocks him out like cold. But dude, I think what makes Ilia Topuria at 145 like really remarkable, scary, bro, is like, dude,
he carries that power.
Dude, it's like
we've seen him sleep people in round 1, 2, 3, 4.
It's fucking nasty, bro.
It's honestly unbelievable. I think
at that size, bro, he's like 5'5", 5'6". He's small.
But his body type, like he carries a good balance, you know, like his legs are pretty lean. His arms, like they look pretty jacked. But I mean, he just does it, bro. Yeah. But I mean, back to Pantoja. I was gonna say, Pantoja's like he's the DDP, the Dricus of that division, and the reason I say it because a lot of times when people say like Dricus, like his fighting style is just unorthodox, and not because of stance, but more so because of like how he fights. Right, everything he does is just not textbook, you know. Like you teach somebody how to fight, I guess, in a sense, like you teach them the opposite of what he does, right? Because when he blitzes at you, he's off balanced. He's leaning, you know, like when he throws his cross, both of his feet are off the ground. And it's like you put him up against any of these fighters, you're like, oh man, he gets slept easy, right? Like this. He doesn't, you know? And it's like Pantoja too, always has his hands down, always in your face, you know? It's like so off the grid. But it works because when you fight him, you know, it's just like you don't know until you get in there with them. And he's just constantly in your face, constantly like, you know, throwing hands, throwing something, mixing it up, you know. And I think that's how Dricus is. Obviously, 100 pounds difference in size. but it's, you know, they just remind me of the same person because they're so off the grid that it's just like, how do you beat them?
Yeah, well, and that's one thing, bro, that I could really appreciate about MMA in general is like that's a sport where you constantly have to find a way. Because remember, bro, like whenever Conor McGregor got exposed by Dustin Poirier, I think in their second fight with the leg kicks.
Yeah.
Then everybody was fucking leg kicking, bro. And then the peroneal nerve, there's a specific spot in the back of the leg right above the calf that if you chop that, your fucking foot goes numb.
Izzy, Sean.
Yeah. It happened to Henry Cejudo too. And like, I think even
Magomed.
Yeah, it happens, bro. And it's like, that's what I'm saying is like almost every year.
I wonder how that feels.
How do
like dead leg
for real, bro? Like it's just not working, dude.
That would get me mad. Like why doesn't my leg work?
Yeah, you know? And bro, it's like it's not even like you're like it's sleeping, bro, because it's like whenever they pick up their leg, it's just dead weight.
But you see when it happens to them, every time it happens to a fighter, like they can't plant their foot. No, like they always like twist their ankle. And then it's like, did they twist their ankle? No, they didn't twist their ankle. It's just they can't plant, you know. Like, and then I don't know if they lose strength. I don't know. I never really looked too much into it, but it's just crazy when it happens. Yeah, it's one of those things though. It's like if you get kicked, you allow yourself to get kicked, and it happens, and it's part of the game, bro. Yeah. You know, it's like a cut.
Yeah, exactly. That's just something else now you got to deal with. You know,
you just have to.
And I'm sure like training cabs try to train you for it. Like whenever you get popped so many times,
appreciate it, Alfredo.
Whenever you get popped so many times in your eyes and then they swell up, they always say don't like try to clear your nose, because then
it'll swell up more.
It'll swell up even more. Or like they also say if you get a cut right above your eye, you're screwed because the pain that you feel from blood in the eye is different from the irritation that you feel from water or the sweat that comes in your eye. So they say it's a burning. They say it's like a burning feeling, bro. So that's why they're always just like, "Fuck, dude," like because it hurts them. But dude,
sweat in your eye fucking sucks.
Yeah, I fucking blood. Yeah, bro. I mean, I don't know. Like I'm saying, like MMA is a very interesting sport because it's like there's so many new ways to do the MMA, and that becomes a predominant way. Yeah. I mean, you in basketball, you have like the Steph Currys that revolutionized the game. You have the Kobe's, the MJs that have a new style of how to play the sport that's going to eventually propel them. Even in football, right? So I remember whenever I used to watch football a lot, whenever Tom Brady and Peyton Manning were like top of the game, they were always in the pocket, but very technical, and they would always choose their guys. But now it's like you see like Jalen Hurts, you see Patrick Mahomes, these fuckers just running everywhere, dude. Yeah. Like, you know, and whatnot.
See, that is a whole different conversation because in the way I view the game, it's like to be a solid quarterback for a long period of time, you just have to understand the pocket, bro. Yeah. You have to, because like your play style, like if you're always running out the pocket, if you're always scrambling, making plays, that's good, right? But at some point, your body can't sustain that. Yeah. Like, you can't just do it. And perfect example of that is Russell Wilson. When Russell Wilson first came in the league, first 2-3 years, like, he was literally a magician because all he did was run out the pocket, extend a play, you know, throw it off his body, cross body. He'll make so many different types of plays, you know. And then the latter part of his career, which is right now, it's like he doesn't do that. Yeah. And, it's one because he probably just doesn't want to do it because he wants to take care of himself. But another part is too, he's just older, you know, the legs just aren't as there. Mm-hmm. So he probably is like physically incapable of sprinting outside the pocket anymore. And it's, you know, Patrick Mahomes, he took advantage of it right now because what he does, obviously out of this world, after like in his second season of ever playing football, he's thrown for 50 touchdowns. That's only been done 2 other times in the entire league. You know, Brady was the first one to do it. Peyton Manning threw 54, but he threw 50 touchdowns. Like, I don't know, like I don't really hear that being talked about as much, but that's fucking stupid. Yeah, that's stupid. But he's able to make all these plays, right? And then my only take with him is he could definitely be top 2, maybe even the best at some point, you know, because obviously torch has to be passed, and it has been. But can he sustain that level of play? You know, for the next 10 years to break all these records, to, you know, win all these games when his talent starts, you know, disappearing. Because obviously Tyreek Hill leaves, he's still able to ball out, you know, but he still has Travis, still has Andy calling plays for him. So what happens, you know, because like Brady, he went through all these generations where he had his Willie McGinnis on defense, you know, Law Firm, Brewski, all of them, and then he had like Dion Branch, Troy Brown, all of them. But then, you know, there's another generation that comes where he has like Julian Edelman, Amendola, you know, Chris Hogan. So he didn't change his game. You know, he just developed at what he did.
New guys.
But he's a pocket quarterback. He just gets rid of the ball. You know, he does his reads, right? Mm-hmm. It's like he never had the biggest arm, but he's always had like a good arm.
Yeah.
He just uses it. But can Mahomes do what he does, you know, for the next, or will he evolve, stay more in the pocket, go through it? Because his arm's
has to.
He has a God-given arm, bro. Like, the only person I can compare his arm to is like Aaron Rodgers. Mm-hmm. Aaron Rodgers is physically probably the most blessed arm I've ever seen in my life. You ever watch Aaron Rodgers play? It's like the way he gets rid of it, the angles, the strength he can put in. Like, he doesn't throw a textbook pass. Like, you can't teach that. It's like Curry. Like, when you're trying to show somebody how to shoot a basketball, you can't show them what Curry does. Yeah. Nobody can do that, bro. Nobody. You can show them Clay textbook. You can show them Devin Booker, textbook. You can't show them Curry. Yeah. And that's kind of how like Rodgers and Mahomes is, because they just do it out of the book. Mm-hmm. But I will say that to kind of counteract my own point, Lamar Jackson. Lamar, his first few years is like he's a runner, and he's damn good at it, right? And he could still like toss the rock. But this year, like the way he was able to move, and I think a lot of it too is, you know, they were able to get him a good run game. But still, like, he's able to make those reads now a lot better in the pocket. And, like, he was able to throw, 40 touchdowns with only, like, 4, 5, 6 picks? That's fucking stupid. For Lamar to do, I would never have seen that coming. Yeah. So, like, I mean, I guess back to the point, it's like, the game changes. It always changes. You know, some people are just blessed. But like MMA too, that's why I respect John Jones so much in terms of fighting.
He's like the only generational fighter that we have.
Every single generation you could put him in and he'll be able to compete. And it doesn't matter if you think Aspinall can beat him. Doesn't matter, you know, if you think Ngannou can beat him. Every single generation he'd be able to compete because he's always been a really good grappler, a really great striker. And it's not like he's a fucking amazing boxer or kickboxer. He's just a good MMA striker, you know?
And that's literally what it is.
A great one. Elbows. He knows how to use all his techniques.
Oblique kicks too and all that shit.
He's the only person that can really transcend generations and still be competitive. Where like you're saying now, it's like there's a blueprint. People follow it, but then they kind of branch off and do their own things. Mm-hmm. But yeah, like I guess going back to Ilias, like I think his run is like at a McGregor like status, bro. Yeah. And it's like you can shit on it, I don't know, but a European guy who's saying he's gonna knock people. He's at the fucking press conference. Yeah, my bio on Instagram is 14-0. It's because I'm gonna win. You know, I'm gonna knock you out. And what does he do, bro? He fucking knocks him out people cold.
Yeah, I think like especially in MMA, not only do you need skill or like crazy skill, but you also need that willpower and that drive, bro. And like what I've noticed with MMA fighters is like a lot of those guys, bro, they come from crazy stories, bro. Crazy stories like fucking Charles, fucking Islam, and you can even take McGregor too, bro. Like those guys come from hard backgrounds, but whenever they start making money, whenever they start partying and all this other shit, then what's the fucking saying? I remember I heard this saying. I want to say Chael Sonnen said it, or maybe Joe Rogan. I don't remember, but it's like it's hard to get up in the morning to go train when you're sleeping with silk sheets or some shit like that. You know what I mean?
That's
like opposed to you waking up in your fucking car like Masvidal would do, like fucking right out in front of his gym, or people that sleep at the gym.
Yeah.
It's different because you wake up and that's your reality, bro. That's your reality. And you're like, dude, I have to make this work by all means. And if you don't, then guess what? Go back to your 9 to 5, go to construction, go to any blue collar job. And sometimes they make it to that stardom. And unfortunately, I feel like a lot of people don't.
They fall in love with it. Yeah. But here's my question on that, because you say that. Look at the parallels between them two, because their stardom is on a similar path, but their background isn't, right? Because McGregor was on welfare. Yeah. He was working blue collar jobs, you know. Yeah. He was out the gutter, and he makes millions, you know, almost billions of dollars, right? And he becomes this star, and it, you know, now he, like you said, he has this money, the girls, the parties, you know, the cars, and look what happened. He just lost that dog, right? But then Ilya,
He already had it.
Yeah, he already had it.
Yeah,
he didn't really. I'm not saying he was like the most wealthiest person on. He wasn't like McGregor wealthy, but he was still fairly wealthy. Look, I mean, you look at his house, look at his gym. Like he's a guy who was making a base UFC contract. How does he all have all that? Sponsors, whatever. I don't know. Maybe his family, maybe his upbringing.
See, and that's like another thing.
Yeah, too, because he comes from that. Like it's not getting to him.
Nuh-uh. Like the necessity of like succeeding by all means isn't there. It's like he genuinely loves this.
Yeah,
he loves what he does and he continues to do so. I don't know, bro. It's so fucking like crazy to think about like that shit. Like and that's why we watched that documentary, the location. By the way, guys, if you guys have about 2 hours of your time, go on YouTube, look up the.
I'm gonna send Chris the link because he wants to.
Look up the word location, LOKATION. Watch that 2 hour documentary and you're going to be like, holy shit, bro. Like, this is a good fucking documentary. So it's a documentary of the upbringing of McGregor, his most controversial moments, his best fights, even whenever he fought Mayweather. And then simultaneously, Khabib was on the rise, calling out McGregor. And then the way that they present and they showcase the whole bus scenario and situation, like it's just displayed beautifully. And then to wrap it all up at the very end, it's also really good. So I showed Ed maybe last month ish, and he really liked it. I'm glad that he
that was a badass documentary.
Yeah, I'm glad he actually really enjoyed it. But bro, I fucking watched that shit like years ago, and
people were hating on that video. I saw in the comments because to me, I think it's impressive as fuck because the way that guy was able to, because at the end of the day, like what you do with things like that, you have to tell a story, right? Mm-hmm. You have to tell a story no matter what it is, no matter like wherever the clips are from, timestamp, whatever. You just have to tell a story, and if the story goes, then you have our attention, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like when you watch a movie, you watch for the plot. It's like, okay, this is going on. What's gonna happen next? No, you have to keep thinking. I think that's what that documentary did so well. It told a story, but then people were in the comments talking shit like, well, he might be a good editor, but he has like an entire gallery to choose from, as opposed to because people were comparing it to like UFC production shit, and they were like, when they produce it, they have to record it, they have to get their own footage, and it's I think it's equally as impressive because they do, but then they also have a whole team that kind of helps them with that vision, and they kind of like they record with intention, He's over here sandbox. It's like a whole puzzle, right? Legos. Without a manual, he just has to like, okay, this has to go here. I'm gonna put it here. This has to go here. And eventually, when you start piecing things together, it makes an image, right?
Opposed to somebody who like literally who has a blank canvas, needs to go out and create the Legos.
But they have a blueprint, though.
Yeah, they have an idea.
Yeah.
And then bringing that shit to life and to fruition is like the crazy part of it.
Yeah.
So Almighty Simba 94 boys.
Simba.
Torres _50. Fuck Martin Rigo and Rayo. Hate from Oklahoma.
Hey Simba, I miss you, buddy. I miss you already.
Shout out Martin Rigo and Rayo and Torres _50. Almighty Simba, Topuria gonna be a bigger star than McGregor if he beats Islam.
He did say he got an announcement coming up, but I don't know if it's Islam.
I don't know if it's Islam.
Somebody either said, I hope to God it's not a crypto coin.
That's funny.
They be doing that shit, bro.
Yeah, they be doing all that random. She doesn't need it though.
He doesn't need it.
Yeah, dude. Look, so my $1 million question, and this is for anybody watching this live, or if they're watching it as a VOD. Will we ever have another McGregor versus Khabib build-up? Will we ever have it? What do you think?
We definitely could. Like, if you see that beef with like Bryce Mitchell and Gene Silver right now, like that's like genuine beef, Mm-hmm. And it's not like Bryce Mitchell hated this guy. It's that he saw this dude Gene didn't like his comments, and Gene took advantage. He's like, I'll fuck him up. And then he took advantage. He's like, now I'm gonna talk shit. And now it's like, fuck this guy, right? And Gene might be doing it for the show, but how do you think Bryce Mitchell feels now? Mm-hmm. Bryce Mitchell's like, no, I want to fuck this dude. Like he literally said, like, you're barking up the wrong tree, motherfucker, Yeah. So it's like, Now Bryce Mitchell generally does not like this guy. He's like, no, fuck you, like for real. And Gene might be doing it for the antic for the show, which, you know, all more power to him. He should, because it builds up a fight. But now it's like, now you have like genuine tension.
Yeah.
But the only thing is, this is just a main card fight.
Yeah.
You know, if you get the right people to have beef like that, it could happen. It could.
You just need somebody just as like wild as McGregor, though, like something, and maybe.
But the thing is, McGregor was really respectful coming up, bro. He was giving everybody their flowers. He was taking pictures of Khabib. You know, he's like, hey man, like yeah, he's a good fighter, blah blah blah. You know, it's like he'll give him his props. Something just got to him, and you know, like he saw some things he didn't like. He ended up not liking him, and then with Artem and all that shit, you know. And it's like they generally had beef, and I think it could happen because we still see that beef today. Like we see people beefing, but it's just it's just not at that level.
So you know a lot about football, you know a lot about basketball. I mean, you might know something about baseball as well, but when you compare that type of like buildup or that type of animosity, can you compare that to any other sport?
I guess like it reminds me of the
Lakers,
the Malice at the Palace, which it was the Pistons and Pacers. It wasn't really like a big rivalry, but like at the time, like they both of them had scrappers. Like I think the Pistons had like Ben Wallace and them, Chauncey and all them. They had dogs, Rip, and then the Pacers, you know, they had guys like Ron Artest, and like they're really flamboyant characters. And then, you know, like shit happened. Popped off, but I think they ended up just fighting the crowd mainly because I think somebody was throwing shit at them, and then like it was called Malice at the Palace because at the arena they were just all scrapping, and like we've never seen something like that before. And that's like in MMA, that's kind of when Khabib and all them were all like fighting each other. Like Khabib started attacking McGregor's camp, you know, like rivalry wise though.
What about college football?
Oh man, you go anywhere, bro. It's like fucking Michigan and Ohio State. Like for fucking hundreds of years, they never liked each other. Fucking when it goes to that rivalry week, I think Ohio State, like anything with an M, they'll fucking cross it out with like a red X because they don't, you know. It's like to them, it's like fuck Michigan, you know. But that's like real rivalry that stems from like, and it's not those people. It's just the culture, right? The culture is like you come to this school. Fuck them, like right off the bat, you know.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna bring up right now because I feel like with professional sports, you kind of have to be indoctrinated. Like you have to either go out there and choose it because you're choosing it, or you're going out there because, or you like a certain sports team because it's in your family, right? So like, if you have kids, if I have kids, you know, they're gonna go for the teams that we like, and we feel passionate about. With college, it's different, bro, because college, like. For example, we went to Fresno State, right? I have no knowledge about Fresno State sports, Fresno State rivalry, but I go there.
It's like fuck Boise.
Yeah, I'm gonna fucking be a Bulldog till the end of it, right? You know what I mean? Because you go to that school and you're gonna identify with that school until you die.
Yeah. Because like a high school rivalry too.
Exactly, yeah, and that shit too. So like, think about it this way: like, okay, I went to Fresno State. Just because I went to Fresno State and I graduated doesn't mean I'm going to stop going or like paying attention to that school. I'm going to forever be with that school. And I feel like there's like a lot of generational people. Like there's coworkers that I have too that are really, that have like certain biases with certain schools because they've gone there, they've experienced it, and they continue to do so. You know what I mean? Just for how you say the culture.
I guess like professionally it'd be like, you know, like Packers and Bears. They just always had like a good rivalry. If you know, Packers always beat the shit at the Bears lately, but I feel like, you know, when you talk to them players, it's like we got to beat them. You know, we got to beat them, and it's like they circle those games.
Lakers and Celtics,
Lakers Celtics too, obviously.
Yankees and Red Sox.
But it takes the right people too, you know, because it's like right now, Lakers and Celtics, huge rivalry. Don't get me wrong, but when Tatum goes in there and plays. It's not like he has like fuck LeBron, you know? It's not like he's thinking like that. He's like, I want to beat the Lakers because I want to beat the Lakers. But he grew up a Kobe fan, right?
Yeah.
He grew up a Kobe fan. And he's like, you know, they respect each other just too much. And we don't really see that beef anymore where it's like, fuck this guy, you know, like I don't like him. I got to dog him. Like We just don't really see it. But if, come the day when there comes a matchup where it's like 2-point guards or 2 stars and they're like, I really don't like this guy, it's going to have more eyes on it, right?
Do you think the Cavaliers and Golden State ever built like a slight rivalry?
Yes, and that time, yeah, they had to, bro.
But it died out as of now, right? You think?
Yeah. Like, Mitchell's not going to care as much about beating the Warriors. Curry, he's probably not going to care because Curry already did what he did. He's not going to care about beating the Cavs.
Bro, that had to have been such a crazy... Dude, I wasn't a huge fan. Look, whenever it comes to, like, ball sports, very casual, and you know that. I mean, I like I like anything LA related.
What up, Ant Dog? Shout out to you, my boy.
Oh, yeah, shout out, Ant. Hey, I need to have that motherfucker on, dude. Ant, I need you on, if you hear me.
We
need to re-up. Let me go re-up and then...
So what am I gonna do?
Just talk to the guys, bro.
What up, Ant Dog? Sullivan, Chicken Alfredo, Simba, Torres, Ant Dog, Soog, Gino Raider. Yeah, bro, Gino's like 37. Like, congrats. He had a great year 2 years ago. You think Gino's the answer? He probably just signed a backup, traded for a backup. I don't know. And Pete Carroll might like him. Better than May. Okay, relax, buddy. Slow your roll. May's is May Day, bro. It's his time up next. Thank you, sir.
All right, so
Suki and I actually have money tomorrow on the Lakers Celtics game.
Is that your boy right
Suki, there? Yeah. Shout out Suki.
Shout out Suki. Here's my boy.
Cheers.
All right, so what I was gonna tell you right now, Ed. So like I'm saying, I'm a very casual ball sport fan. But I remember, bro, and I wasn't super into it, but dude, to watch, I think was it the 2016 finals or the 2015 finals where LeBron came
back 3-1.
3-1. There's so many times where I just want to go back just to kind of watch that.
The reason that was a rivalry though was because they always met at the last game of the season. Yeah. The last game of the whole year, right? And for the most part, it was the same core. It was Draymond, Clay, Steph, Iggy against Bron, Kyrie, Love, JR, right? Mm-hmm. It was that same core, and they really met those guys. So they probably were like, man, like, fuck Curry, like, we got to beat him, And Curry was probably like, well, Curry was winning, so it was, he probably felt a different way about it. He's like, we're gonna watch these guys, right? But I think that was an actual rivalry because, like I said, they met at the last game, the last series, every single year for like 3 years straight, Yeah. And it's like when that happens, you have to have some sort of animosity. You have to have some sort of animosity. You don't have to like hate the team, but at the same time, it's like you have to beat them. Mm-hmm. You have to.
What's the same way whenever Kobe met the Celtics again in 2010?
Yeah, in 08 and then in 09-10. No,
it was 08.
07, 08 season. That's where we won.
You guys beat us.
9-10, we lost, I think, to the Magic, and then the Magic played the Lakers,
and then
the very next year, or I'm getting my ears fucked up. It was 07, 08
right there. I have a poster right there with our rings.
07, 08 was when we won. The Celtics won. 08, 09 was when the Lakers beat the Magic, and then 9-10 is where the Lakers beat the Celtics. Yeah. So, but I mean, again, I think that was kind of a rivalry too because, again, the culture, the history. Because Warriors and Cavs didn't really have one, But they met each other so many times, it built one. But this one, the Celtics and the Lakers, it's like you go back to the Bird days, Bird Magic, and then like Wilt and all them stuff. Russell
didn't like
Russell and Jerry.
What about early Kobe and Shaq? Did they ever have a rivalry through the span of 99 to 02?
Against the team?
They never did they?
Nah. I think they would play like the Pistons or something, but. No, again, like that rivalry was just there because the culture was there. But now it's like both of these teams are at the top. They're fighting. And that's why I think tomorrow, like, that game's going to be so built up because...
that's right. I saw it on my fucking ticket.
Yeah, because I
didn't realize that we were going to play.
Honestly, that's one of the biggest games of the year because of that already existing rivalry that really, in, last year's, it's been like whatever, It's like you can pay attention to it. like obviously if you're a Celtics fan, you want to see them beat the Lakers. Yeah. Vice versa, if you're a Lakers fan, you want to see them beat the Celtics. But it really didn't have stakes because the Celtics, they were like true contenders. The Lakers are like, all right, you know, like where are they gonna go?
I feel like this is the first game that we play versus you guys with Luka, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like both teams have something to prove because
I think so.
You guys are obviously the defending champs, and you guys want to be able to show the world that it doesn't matter who the fuck the Lakers got. We're still gonna fucking, you know, big brother shit out of them. The Lakers, on the other hand, it's like, well, now we got Luka. Now we have to have to show you guys. And the same thing happened whenever the Lakers played the Nuggets a few weeks ago.
Yeah,
everybody was like, what the fuck? They're not gonna beat the Nuggets.
I think the Lakers are like 8 games in a row. They got Luka. You know, it's like now it's like obviously we know the Celtics are contenders, but now it's like, okay, Lakers are starting to look like contenders.
Yeah.
The thing is, like, this is a battle of the number 2 seeds.
Yeah.
and it has the attention of the whole entire league.
Yeah.
Whereas you have the Cavs and the Thunder, they're truly there. But I mean, it's kind of been like that. Like back then, you know, like the Hawks would be the 1 seed, but it's like, you know, the Heat's gonna dog them. You know, or like Lakers, like they might not even be the 1 seed. It might be another team. Mm-hmm. But then once it comes playoffs, it's like you really know who's gonna come out. But no, this time is completely different because. Yeah, like you said, you got Luka. You're riding a win streak. We're contenders. We're gonna have our team back, and all eyes. It's like the most expensive Celtics game that they said that price wise.
I think prior. I mean, I don't know. We're playing in Boston, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think whenever the Lakers hosted the Mavs, those tickets were expensive as fuck too.
Man, that was a good game though. Kyrie went at him.
Yeah.
Kyrie wanted his dub, bro, and he played. He couldn't win.
Yeah. Dude, that just sucks, dude. It's so unfortunate what happened to the Mavs because last week, Kyrie got hurt, no?
Yeah, AD hurt something, and then Kyrie tore his ACL, I think. Fuck. So he's out. And if you don't like you said, like you're kind of more like not as knowledgeable in basketball, but in the world of basketball, like it's like deep basketball, like deeper than my knowledge, like Hooper. I'm talking about the players themselves. Kyrie is like right here in terms of like skill level. Like whenever he hears like the players like on their podcast, they talk about any player, they always bring up Kyrie because he's just been one of the most skilled basketball players, like to ever fucking grace the ball.
So there is, leading with all this rivalry in sports and shit. There is one thing that, and I'm glad I got you right now. I'm glad that I'm able to ask this question up front and first on the pod, so I could learn and maybe some of the viewers can learn. But Canada versus USA in hockey.
Yeah.
Explain that. Because, dude, I mean, I remember I asked you guys, you and Lionel, shout out Lionel. Remember I asked you guys were just fucking trolling me, whatever. And then I tried ChatGPTing it. I kind of understood it. And then I asked some of my coworkers and they kind of explained to me. But you, knowing what you know about sports, what was the significance behind that game? Because from what my knowledge is like, this is like, the best way that I perceive it as is like, bring this to soccer. This is Mexico versus Brazil, right?
Yeah.
So how can you explain
Canada versus it's because when you really look at it, like hockey itself, I'm not that knowledgeable about hockey like whatsoever. But when you look at it itself, it's like hockey is more of a Canadian sport. It just is, So the way you got to look at it is if like the USA, right, we had a national team, basketball, football, whatever, and then Canadians come up, and they want to play us in this sport. It's like, no, we have to beat their ass because this is our sport. Yeah, some Canadians can play. This is our sport. So now in hockey, it's roles reversed. This is hockey sport. They made a fucking movie about it. Miracle on Ice, whatever. Kurt Russell. It was Canada's sport. Mm-hmm. It's their sport. It's a European sport predominantly, but obviously Canada just they own that sport, right?
Yeah, well, I'm sure their high school.
It's like it's Canada's football, you know. So it's like it's their sport. So now that the U.S. comes, you got to think about it look at it from their perspective. Canada's like, we don't have much. We have hockey though. This is our fucking sport. U.S. the Americans, they have everything. They have basketball. Football, they're getting better at soccer. They have all this shit, right? We got to show them, like, nah, when it comes to this shit, we're not going to play, right? So they meet for that first time in the Four Nations, and then obviously USA gets a dub. It was a pretty competitive game. And then in the finals, Canada came back, got the dub, and another competitive, I think that went to OT. Mm-hmm. So it's just like that. It's like Canada's like, this is what we have. This is our holy grail.
Yeah.
We're not going to let you guys come in and take this from us too, you know? Well, not from, you know, they didn't take every other, but it's like, you guys can have whatever you have. This is ours. So it's like when you play, like, say you have a little brother, right? And you're obviously he's your little brother. You're gonna be better than him at, you know, maybe sports because you're just bigger than him. You'll probably beat his ass. But maybe in gaming, he's probably just better, you know. And it's like, all right, now I'm gonna play COD, and he's like, all right, motherfucker, like this is my realm now, right, you know. Yeah. It's like now you're stepping into my court, you know. Now we're even, you know. Yeah. And then it's like he's gonna like really take pride in owning that because that's his realm, you know.
But okay, but this is technically an all-star game, right?
Canada also had the best. Yeah,
I don't know.
Is it Connor McDavid? That's what it was, right? He's with the Edmonton Oilers. I want to say like he's one of the best right now. He is one of the best, but is he like that guy, Simba? Okay, yeah. So McDavid's that guy right now, and he played for Canada.
So I fucking lost my train of thought. We forgot. But okay, so like Canada, US, right? And these are like this is technically an all-star game, right? Or
I think in place of an all-star, they did this instead. Mm-hmm. So,
but they do this yearly, or is this like every 4 years?
I want to say this might be the first time.
Oh shit!
I don't think they did it last year. But yeah, so I think because it might be is one of those things where it's like NBA, it's like all-star game. Nobody really watches. Nobody cares. So imagine hockey. It's like, who's going to watch a hockey all-star game? Yeah. So they're like, fuck it. Instead of a hockey all-star game, we'll get 4 of the best nations, get the best players to play for their national team. Mm-hmm. So it's like a mini like Olympics, a mini World Cup.
Okay. So that's where like, and this is where I've always been like super conflicted with like soccer too.
Yeah, it was inaugural. Yeah, Connor McJesus. Damn.
So do these players, are any of those Canadian players teammates with the USA players?
Yeah, they could be.
And that's what I'm saying, right? Because it's like
they're playing against each other, but they're probably teammates. But like I said, it's a mini World Cup. That's what it is. And it's like, I don't watch soccer for shit, but when the World Cup comes on, it's like, you know, we might root for Mexico or Team USA, you know? And it's like, because they're you know, that's where we're from. Dude. Those are our people.
Oh, fucking Simba's gonna like this.
But you see how you feel about the World Cup in like Mexico? That's what the 4 Nations was. Yeah.
Well, that's true.
But the cool thing about it though was this was in mid-season of a full-on hockey season that they were able to get these people to play for their national team, and not only play, they went balls out, bro. Yeah, balls out. Whereas all these other all-star games, it's like football is like flag football now. Nobody gives a fuck. Everybody's dapping each other up. Basketball, it's like they're trying to do all this shit. It's really not working. They got all these motherfuckers to play hockey. You got to be a crazy motherfucker already, right? But they got all these motherfuckers in hockey, and they're like, "Hey, you're gonna play for your national team, and you're gonna play, and you're gonna give it the best you have." They all did that in between them. That's insane to me, bro. Yeah. And they were fucking fighting. They were dogging it out. The Kachuk brothers, whatever, they were just fucking going at it.
Bro, my coworker was telling me that there was one point where whenever they dropped the puck, they just start fucking scrapping.
I think that's what's cool. They let it happen, but also too, it's like I think their dad had fought back then in like the national game, so they're like, yeah, we're just gonna get this shit out the way. So they just fucking dropped it. Maybe they had beef, those guys. Maybe they just had beef, and they were just like, you know what? Like, we're gonna fucking settle this tomorrow night when we play, and then they did.
That's like toxic masculinity, if you would even want to use that word at its finest, bro. It's like a lot of people, you know, they demise it. They don't like, talk whatever. But it's like for men, it's like, bro, that's what we want to see. Yeah. Like, you have your pride and your ego for your country, and you're willing to die for it.
Well, I think because the first game they played at the Rogers Center in Canada. Yeah, that's the one that U.S. won. But when they played the U.S. national anthem, everybody was booing it. So you got to imagine how those players felt. And they were probably like, man, fuck that. Like, you guys are booing. Like, but they took pride in it. You know, not many times you can get somebody to take pride in, like, how they do something. They took, like, Team USA, for example, basketball. I think before this year's Olympics, like, obviously those players took pride in playing in the Olympic Games, but it wasn't as serious, I feel like, you know? It's like, everybody wants to win. I'm not saying they didn't take it serious at all, but everybody wants to win a gold medal, but it's like this year, you know, you had Braun come back. You got Curry for the first time. You got KD, and it's like, holy shit, like they're assembling like the Avengers in basketball.
You were super tapped into the Olympics for NBA,
yeah,
right?
Yeah,
because I remember
this year, fuck yeah.
I remember when we went on that trip to Lake Tahoe, and it was the Olympics, or I think it was right.
It was around that time.
Yeah. So, and you guys were like, you and Lionel were super tapped in on fucking basketball. You guys were watching, watch these guys play. Oh, because Mark was there too, and all you guys were all watching fucking basketball. I was like, I'm not tapped in like that, but yeah, man, I don't know. I just feel like people just like to see a good rivalry. Yeah. And that's it. And this is where I wanted to steer the conversation. And shout out Simba.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I was just gonna say two things that I'll just stand by, like two sayings that I'll just stand by forever. One of them is like, when it comes to like fighting or whatever, or like sports, it's like you're the champ, you're the best, right? You're the greatest until you're not.
Yeah.
And there's always gonna be a point where you're not.
Yeah.
Right. I'll stand by that because it's just true.
Yeah.
Right. It's just true. And another one is, what do I always say about a fight? Stories make fights. Stories sell fights, right? A story can sell a basketball game. A story can sell a football game. Stories will sell anything, right?
Yeah.
Because that's what invests us, you know?
Yeah.
As little as it is, as long as we feel like there's narrative behind it, we're going to tune in, you know? Yeah. You get a random matchup with two guys that are like whatever, it's like, okay, you know, like this is going on. But when we know why something's happening, like Conor and Khabib, the reason it was so big, because there was a story behind it, right? And it wasn't just the beef, it's just, like I said, the story.
Well, the Manny Pacquiao too.
Yeah.
And look, and this was another point that I was going to bring up earlier whenever we were talking about combat sports, is like, it's so easy to sell that story because in combat sports, you're not fighting as a team. You're fighting for yourself.
Yeah.
So you're able, and then they still give you the benefit of handing you a mic, and you're gonna go up there and you're gonna fucking talk your shit. You know. And again, so the conversation that I'm trying to steer towards is another man versus man, and why I'm saying like Simba is gonna really like this conversation, because whenever we brought up the World Cup, who performed at the halftime show for the Super Bowl? Kendrick.
Yeah.
Who's gonna perform for the World Cup?
It's Kendrick too?
Drake.
No shit.
Yeah. So Drake.
When did that get announced?
It's been.
I don't even fucking know that.
Yeah. I'll fact check you right now.
When is the next World Cup? 2026.
Yeah. So
next year. Okay.
So he's set to perform. And it makes sense because the U.S. is going to host the World Cup.
Yeah.
Next.
Oh.
So that's why they're like, the famous bars like bigger than the Super Bowl. Kendrick does the Super Bowl performance, says fuck you to Drake. But it's like Drake's like, I'm going to do the World Cup, bro. Yeah. Like, fuck. So
that's crazy.
Going to this, dude, obviously, I
didn't even know that.
And I'll fact check it just so I'm not just talking out of my ass, but. What I understand, you're a huge Drake fan. I'm biased toward Drake because of his activity, because of his showmanship. I just appreciate Drake overall as a person, as an artist. Obviously, there's a lot of stickiness in between his career that Kendrick tried to expose. But if you could try to pull yourself from your own personal biases, what's your ultimate take on that beef?
Well, like one, how you're talking about like how Kendrick tried to expose him, bro. Me and you, right? We're growing up. We're just average people in this world, you know. There's celebrities, there's elites, you know, wealthy people, right? We can like idolize them to an extent, but you can't just make them your life, you know. You can't, right? And the reason I said it is because at the end of the day, everybody in Hollywood, everybody with that amount of money, everybody, you know, at that elite status, they're all fucking weird. All of them.
Yep.
They all have baggage. Everybody to an extent has some kind of baggage in general.
Yep.
So do they, and it's probably even magnified, but the thing is behind a door, you know? And it's like, you have to go in with that mindset already. These are all weirdos. They're all fucking different people. Why do you think they dress differently? Like, I'm not saying this for a reason, but it's like they dress it because they're all just different. They're all, you know? But that's what makes them who they are, right? Yeah. So, one, like, that's what it is with me. Like, if you came to me about that rivalry and you said, well, what about Kendrick? He said this about Drake. What about that? I'm like, okay, Kendrick's a fucking weirdo too because of A, B, and C, you know? Yeah. Or, you know, if you talk about politics or whatever, you know, it's like they're all fucking weird. All of them. Everybody, you know? So it's like, that's not going to faze me. That's not gonna, I'm going to look at, you know, body of work, you know, in terms of music, discography. I'm going to look at, you know, what's been just there. And like you said, Drake's consistency. Drake's, you know, how he's always been there, his volume, he's brought out quality content, you know, multiple times. And then Kendrick, it's like, he drops, like, don't get me wrong, Kendrick, when he first came out, that shit was bangers. Yeah. Straight bangers. Kendrick still has bangers, you know? But then there was a period, was like, To Pimp a Butterfly. I didn't really fuck with it. Some people did. I didn't. And then, like, the other albums, it was like, okay, they were good albums, but they weren't just like, you know? Yeah. And then, you know, he'll take years off. But then now with this beef, it's like, now he's back, right? Mm-hmm. Now that he's talking shit. So it's like, if you look at it, yeah, he, you know, you might say like, oh, he won, he did this, you know, but at the end of the day, like, what made him come out the show? Drake. Yeah, Drake, yeah. And it's like,
and see, and that's where I always stand
takes two to dance.
Yeah.
Takes two to tango.
And that's where I always come with my counter arguments, dude, because it's like, you think about Drake's impact and what he's done for the music. Yeah, you can argue, and I even have a counter.
You think this is like Tupac Biggie level, or am I just tripping? I'm not tapped into music like that, but
I feel like what set Tupac Biggie to the next level was the minimal amount of media that covered it, because we didn't have Instagram, we didn't have any of that to really.
But it was still do our big.
Research. It was big, but I feel like what really set that one to the next level was the "Hit 'Em Up" song. Bro, that shit hit and fucking... Dude, look.
You fat motherfucker.
Yeah, bro. And look, this is like... And, bro, I remember whenever... I think I listened to this song whenever I was in 7th, 8th grade.
Yeah.
My friend, or my cousin, he let me borrow his PSP, and he's like, oh, bro, like, I have all these songs, download them, this and that. All right, cool. I downloaded them. Started going through it, listened to every song. I came across Hit 'Em Up. I listened to it. I was like, oh, fucking Tupac. Hell yeah. Listening to it. And then, like, at the very end, bro, where he just went on his little rant, how he's saying, like, oh, you fat motherfucker, like, I fucked your bitch. And then I think the part that really, like, took me, like, blew me away as a fucking kid who knows nothing about life, who doesn't acknowledge what it's like to be a father, like a real son. Whenever Tupac had said, like, I'm going to make sure, like, my 44 is going to make sure all your kids don't grow. And I'm just like, damn, bro. Yeah. Like, and he said that shit with fucking passion, dude. Like, cause that was just off the rip. That was just like a little spiel, a little speech that he had at the end of the song. And I'm just like, bro, this is
people
serious.
Died.
And people died.
Yeah.
Both of them, rest in peace, right? Yeah. And I feel like that's what set that beef to the next level. Now, if you were to get it where like Drake was murdered and then Kendrick got murdered back.
It'd be weird.
That would be weird.
It'd be different. It's like,
it would be different, but
you could say it's like, oh, they're not like really street like they were, but they're probably not.
No.
But you know why? It's because now they have all these lavish lifestyles, bodyguards.
Well, that's the same reason why people speculate that fucking Drake's responsible for XXXTentacion's death, right? And it's like, there's a lot of mystery, a lot of gray area, which I'm completely okay.
It's so random. I still don't get like what that is, but
I don't know either. Yeah. And I'm completely okay with not knowing the details because I don't want to know.
Yeah.
But it's like to the extent that it kind of got to that, where it's like, where Drake says like,
he's always saying he got mob ties.
Yeah, where Drake says he's all if you would have held your tongue on that live, you'd be alive again. I'm just like, all right, bro, like, what are you saying, man? Yeah. You know what I mean? Because it's like, there's media, there's the way you want to perceive yourself in front of the public, but there's still that instance where you're in the lab and you consciously want to say that for the rest of the world to listen.
And not only that, like this, whatever verse you said, whatever lines, whatever bars, it's been checked by a whole team.
Yeah.
A whole production, you know?
Yeah. Okay.
Like back then, you could just say shit. One guy would be like, cool.
Yeah,
let's release it.
Let's go.
All right, cool. They'll send it to the label. They're just like, hey, release the shit how it is. All right, cool. Now it's like,
it's not like that.
You know, the producer signs off on it. Their ups sign off on it. The labels sign off on it. You know, they have to see like, hey, we don't like what you said here, you know, and it's like.
And bro, and that's what so many people are so ignorant about, because a lot of people believe that nowadays, because of the freedom that social media gives you, everybody tends to want to believe that it's just what Kendrick wants to say. Oh, it's just what Drake wants to say.
Yeah.
No, it's not. bro, like I think it's so crazy how people were like, oh, in the Super Bowl halftime show, like Kendrick said, oh, you know, this is the time of the revolutionary. This is the right time, but you picked the wrong guy. Mm-hmm. In my mind, it's like everybody else perceived that as like, oh, Kendrick's exposing the industry. He's basically saying that fuck all these higher ups, that he's about to expose the industry for what they are. But in my mind, I'm like, the NFL is not just going to give Kendrick the freedom of this half an hour halftime show to say whatever he wants, however he wants. Yeah. Fuck no. There's somebody, the main people of the NFL and all the elitists above him politically, they're like,
you know what sport will let you do that though?
UFC. Yeah, they will. Yeah. And I feel like, well, UFC is the most raw and authentic that you'll ever get, right? But when it comes to like NFL and all those other shit, bro, there's people up there that are going to approve of it. There's people up there that are going to agree with it and shit like that. Whatever it may be, the industry turns against Drake, and that gives me even more reason to believe Drake is really...
Stories sell fights.
Stories sell fights. Yeah. And Drake is literally the one trying to fend for himself.
It's a story, yeah. It's a whole story, and like this whole beef, like you asked me, like I really don't care. Like it's cool, it's good for music,
yeah,
because that story is like getting people to, like good shit, you know. Do I really think there's substance behind it? No. Like, are we gonna see Kendrick fucking fight Drake? No, fuck no. We'll never see that. But you know, they're doing it from their own lens, from their own perspective. It's like, who's gonna drop the hotter shit? Yeah. You know, who's gonna fucking, and that's why everybody's tuned in. Yeah, and it's good.
It was great. I mean, last year, summer, that little span that they had, it was great. It was fucking great to see them draw back-to-backs, fucking all this shit, what they had to say and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, bro, where I really stand on this beef is that if it wasn't for Drake, Kendrick wouldn't have anything to stand on. And now that Kendrick is supposedly on this pedestal,
He's on top. Yeah.
What are you gonna do with it?
Hey, but Drake's an underdog now.
Yeah,
Drake's underdog.
And that's scary for all these
rappers.
Heavy
underdog. That's a pretty heavy underdog, bro. Yeah, if there's an underdog to bet on, be that guy.
Yeah, for real. Because, all right, cool, Kendrick, you fucking brought back your career off of a diss. You brought back your career off of another man. What are you gonna do with it, bro? Okay, Super Bowl halftime show, cool. But what did you do with it? You didn't sell the public on your hits. You didn't sell the public on your accomplishments, on your discography. Nothing. You sold the public on your recent album, which I liked, because I'm a West Coast guy. Yeah. I enjoy it. But there's a lot of fucking people out there who thought it was trash. ATL thought it was trash. East Coast, that's why Joey Badass wanted to get into it. He said, no, like, I don't fuck with this shit. Like, there's a lot of other people besides the West Coast, obviously we're biased to it, that had different opinions on it. And I, from a very non-biased perspective, I agreed with it.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, all right, bro. Like,
his message for the Super Bowl 2 was, like you said, like big fuck you to all the elites, whatever. It was more so that he tried to like make a movement, and I think right now with everything that's going on in this world, that people bought into it. Yeah, and that's fine. Like you know, like people care more about that than they do other things, right? And it's like cool, you know. Everybody has a different viewpoint.
I think as of now, bro, I was like, and I've been saying this shit in the midst of the beef. I've been saying the only way that Kendrick is gonna really prevail, or Drake is really gonna prevail from this beef, is his hits. It's like, all right, I lost the beef, whatever.
Yeah,
I had a hard 2024, whatever. But just like how it was in his recent album with Party Next Door, he's all fuck a rap beef. I'm just trying to get the party lit. It's like, yeah, Drake, do that. Fucking do that.
Stick to your guns.
If your lyrical ability wasn't as good enough as Kendrick, it's fucking Kendrick. That motherfucker works like clockwork, right? Yeah. Then beat him on the numbers. Mm-hmm. If you could beat him on the numbers, bro, like who's winning?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you tried to take me out and you revived your career off of a diss, but guess what? I could literally go on my own lane, continue to make more hits. And what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Well, people love choosing sides, and, you know, that's what it is. Yeah. It's like two people. Somebody's going to choose a side. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what's going on right now. But
you know, one particular, because I'm like a fan of music. I'm sure you are too. One particular thing that I would really like to see people go at it is like a Bad Bunny and a Kendrick. Bro, Bad Bunny had the world on their knees with Verano Sin Ti.
Yeah.
You went to the concert. You saw all those people, bro. It's like, holy
cool.
shit.
A great concert.
And the thing about Bad Bunny is that I don't know, maybe he's as lyrical as Kendrick. He's never really displayed it, but there's a lot of little rap
different
songs.
Audience, though.
Yeah, there's a lot of rap songs that Bad Bunny has put out where I'm just like, oh, bro, like, you got it lyrically, too. But it's like...
I know, his shit's crazy. His bars are crazy. And the reason it doesn't reach every audience is because they can't understand it, obviously, but his bars are crazy, bro.
Yeah,
he says some good shit.
During that time where Un Verano Sin Ti really popped off, I would tell my friends who didn't know Spanish fluently, I'd tell them, like, I feel bad for you.
Yeah.
I wish you could really experience this and know what he's saying in his songs for you to, like, fully grasp it.
And I barely even know. Like, I could
but
speak
you
it.
Were able to experience that.
I was able to, like, call it, and I was like, damn, like, this shit is cool, and it's bumping, and it's hot, and it fucking, every time we heard those songs, it's like, it just brought up the place, you know? It literally tore the roof down.
Yeah.
And it's like, now Kendrick's doing that, you know, like, Drake's done that. In terms of that beef, though, like, I don't think that'll ever happen. I don't think it's worth it for either party. You know,
I think
that wouldn't sell as much as what's selling right now.
This was my theory, because whenever Bad Bunny had dropped his what the fuck album was it? Was the album with this where like he had a picture of a cowboy and he was on, like, whatever. I forget the name of that album. Anyways, whenever he dropped that album, he opened up with, like, this whole and I'll show you this after we're done with the podcast so you could, like, really observe it, like, lyrically. But there was this intro to that album that he was basically saying, he's all like, I'm not Bad Bunny, I'm not a superstar, I'm the greatest motherfucker that you'll ever see in the world. And I'm just like, damn, okay. So if you really want to prove yourself as that guy, why wouldn't you go up, not bar for bar, but number for number with Kendrick?
You know? I think too many parties. Yeah. Too many parties involved. Yeah. That's how it is with everything nowadays, though.
Yeah,
you know?
So that's like sometimes
a lot of people have to sign off on shit.
Yeah, and that's the hypothetical battle that I would really like to see. It's like Bad Bunny, I'm sure, is off somewhere. He listened to the album. He's all, bro, you think you're hot shit?
That'll bring cultures against each other. Yeah, you know.
And it's like Kendrick's like, bro, you think you're hot shit? Look what I could do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like that's like an unconditional, like, head-to-head beef that I could see arising. But the stars have to align perfectly for them to really want to go, not bar for bar, but numbers for numbers. Which I don't think Kendrick would even touch. Fuck no, he wouldn't touch. Well, Drake, maybe, but they're boys. They're Drake and Bad Bunny, they're friends.
I guess, like, going back to that, though, and going back to, like, free speech and all that shit, and back to the UFC, like, with Dana and everything, like, a lot of people shit on the UFC because it's, like, one person, right? He kind of looks like the mogul. He's pulling all the strings. But at the end of the day, you know, like, he's still in that, like, whatever mode, you know? He's, like, Dana's still, like, you know, these people say what they fucking want to say, you know? It's, like, you could tell nowadays it's, like, Dana's more media trained, like we said. Like, he knows, like, sometimes he has to pull his tongue to say certain things, but at the end of the day, like, when he really gets pissed, he'll say how he feels. He'll say how, and he's like, hey, like, you don't like it? Watch him get beat up, you know? Like, I can't do nothing about it, you know? What is he gonna do? Cut him? Like, cut people for doing dumb shit?
Bro, that's what I hate is, like, when the media tries to press Dana White, are you gonna punish them? Are you gonna like, suspend them?
But
like,
he stands his ground, bro. He stands. If it's any other sport, suspension, you know, or this and that, you know, it's like. But everybody has baggage, like I said, like, shit can get out. Yeah. You know, like, somebody could be arrested for some crazy shit. But I think that's where he lets the law do the work, you know? Yeah. Like with McGregor. McGregor's in cases, you know, and he's like, hey, if McGregor gets arrested, well, he can't do nothing about it, right? Dana can't do shit about it.
And that's, like, one thing that I feel like me and you, and I'm sure a lot of people listening can ultimately agree on that. Hey, like, Dana White is one of the last fucking guys in the top media when it comes to, like, sports and shit, that he'll let shit fly. Yeah. And, like, that's why, like, right now we're living in a time, in an underrated, appreciative time, that unfortunately one day Dana White's gonna retire.
Yeah.
Dana White
is turkey now, though, bro.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that with the boxing?
Oh, dude, I don't know, bro.
So, because I have a lot of friends, right? And they're really tapped into boxing. Like, boxing is like their one love, their sport. And I'll talk to them about it. And they always tell me the same thing. I don't like it. Why don't you like it? Because
too many belts.
No, because Turkey is gonna try to make boxing like the UFC.
Yeah.
He's just gonna like try to have power. Boxers are gonna lose their voice. They're gonna lose their, they're gonna lose their status. They're not gonna be able to like negotiate for themselves, which I see 100%. Like, you're right. Like, if you're under one promotion, like, they kind of have to run shit,
Mm-hmm.
But the thing with Turkey, and like, I had this whole thing with them because Dubai, Saudi, like, they have just unlimited money, right? They're trying to get into every sport: baseball, basketball, soccer, everything, right? And then now they're fighting. Obviously, fighting is one of the biggest things because they can really pull strings with it.
They saw a hole in fighting that all of us saw, and they're like, all right, let's fix it.
The thing is, Turkey, he really respects the sport.
Yeah.
He loves the sport, bro. Yeah. And like, they asked him, they're like, hey, what do you think about Jake Paul and Canelo? He's like, man, fuck that. Like, Canelo's too young. And think about it.
Or Jake Paul?
No, he said Canelo's too young.
Canelo's too young?
He said that. He said Canelo's too young to be fighting these fucking YouTubers. Like, he's too young to be fighting, these YouTubers, these influencer fights. He's like, wait till he's 60. Wait till he's 50. Like, then he could do it. Yeah. He's like, in the meantime, if you want to see Jake Paul fight Mr. Beast, he literally said this. He said, we'll organize this. We'll make it the Disney YouTuber influencer belt. They could fight. Yeah. In the meantime, like, Canelo's got some serious shit to do. Yeah. But he's bringing in these massive fights, bro. He's like, he's getting these Bud Crawford and Canelo fights, or Better Beef and fucking Bivol, or like Fury.
He's making those fights happen, bro.
And these back then, like, we would have to wait a long time.
Pacquiao versus fucking Mayweather fight, dude. I've been waiting.
But it happened too late.
Yes,
it happened too late.
Yes,
right. Yeah, exactly. But we don't have to wait no more. No,
I feel like boxing's biggest toll was the fighter pay. Now, I know a lot of people, they're gonna be like, "Oh, well, those fighters deserve their money." Yes, I'm not saying that they don't, but the fighters had such a big pedestal and a big value to themselves that they knew what they were worth because of what they've been paid. Yeah. So they're just like, bro, no, fuck no. Like, if you want to make Canelo versus Crawford, you have to pay him $100 million each. Yeah. And it's like,
but Turkey's doing that.
Yeah, but Turkey's gonna do it. Yeah. And that's one thing, bro. As much as like me being an American and seeing all this shit go down, because obviously you have to play by their standards. As much as I hate it because it's not favored to us, and I might have to wake up like at fucking 6 a.m. to prep a barbecue just for the boys to watch a Canelo versus Crawford. That's one thing that I'm gonna hate, but overall, I'm really gonna be appreciative of the fact that they were able to get it
making
done.
It happen.
But it's because all it is, bro, is just a paycheck. Yeah. How much do you want to fight him for? 100 mil. How much do you want to fight? 100 mil. All right.
Okay. Let's do it. Make it happen. Where before it's like, nah, you're crazy. Yeah. Like, oh, I want a 50-50 split. No, you're stupid. It's gonna be 70-30. Yeah. 80-20. And I think a lot of times back then, like, that's why fights got washed, because one side didn't disagree, the other side disagreed. They were under different promotions, they had different belts. But now Turkey's like, Canelo comes with WBC, he's like, nah, fuck that. We're not promoting that shit. Like, you're gonna fight the best in the world because you are the best in the world, Mm-hmm. You're gonna fight the other best in the world because we're gonna make it happen. And we're gonna do it under our umbrella. And we're not gonna like promote them because they didn't make it happen. They couldn't make it happen,
Yeah, I remember I watched a brief history on like boxing and the belts, and it's just failed organizations over and over. Because whenever don't quote me on this, I don't know the like word for word of the history, but basically, lack of better terms, easy way to put it, WBC failed, WBO came up to try to combat them. All right, well, now the fighter has both belts. Okay, well, the Ring magazine. Okay, well, then WBA. And then it's like, now you have all these fucking belts. But what homeboy over there in Dubai is doing, he's like, bro, like, let's make the unified fight happen, and then I'll grant them with the unified belt, which is essentially the UFC belt or like the champ belt, which I fucking love. Because if you issue that belt, now guess what? Now the fighters that want to go fight that guy, they have to understand that that's a unified fighter. Mm-hmm. Now I have to fight him. So it eliminates all the other bullshit belts, WBO, WBC, WBA, Ring Magazine. It eliminates all those guys. And now we're fighting.
Now it's like, unified. If you're the best, you're truly the best.
Yes.
And we're not going to wonder.
Yeah, we have a
I'm
really...
going to go piss. And
Yeah.
Keep them busy.
So, okay. So again, guys, like... what I'm trying to get at is like I really do feel like the fact that these guys over at Dubai, and I don't know the guy's name, but you know the guy, Saudi Arabian guy, again, how Ed was saying, he's a huge fan of boxing and he understands what he's doing. What he's doing is he's just trying to make sure, not necessarily is he trying to mimic a UFC style, but he could recognize that the UFC is a business that's thriving. It's a business that people are willing to watch. And I mean, throughout the years, the UFC became bigger than boxing, in my opinion. If you have counter arguments, I completely respect it because I'm also a big boxing fan. I grew up watching. The first fight I ever watched was Mayweather and De La Hoya. So I've been watching boxing since then. But I've always had the same thing that I was telling Ed earlier is like, bro, there's too many belts. I don't know who's who. I don't know what these belts mean, this and that. I see somebody with all these fucking straps, and then what? So then now you have these guys who are really out there to put a true stamp on who the best is. And I feel like this is literally the best time for boxing. A lot of people feel like, oh, like fuck, bro, like boxing's this, boxing that. But I think it's a good time for boxing because those guys are going to get those fighters paid to be able to have them fight under an organization that truly displays the best of the best, you know? So it's a really, and what I was going back to saying earlier is that we're living in a very underrated time of combat sports because there's not a lot of people like Dana White. There's not a lot of people like the UFC out there. So whenever Dana White has to retire and give up his throne, I just hope to God. I hope to God that we get somebody good enough to replace Dana White. What do you think about that? You think we're gonna get somebody that's gonna be good enough to replace Dana White and to continue with the culture of the UFC, or do you think we're gonna get somebody that's gonna fucking level it out like NBA, MLB, and MLB is not that bad, but like NBA, NFL?
I feel like his people that he has is like predecessors right now, like Hunter and like Sean Shelby. I don't think they'll be. I think they are more corporate than him because I think they come from like the companies that like help found and fund the UFC.
Yeah.
So it was different, you know. Like when Dana first started, his vision, his thing was like the Fertittas, like they invested in him, but they let him run the show, you know.
Yeah.
So he was like, we're going to do this. We're going to do it how we want to do it, you know? And he did that. And like for all these years, he did that. And, you know, like he did his, but I mean, then again, he's on his like superhuman diet. So he might live fucking longer than us. He might be fucking cognitively there longer than us. But like,
I just hope he doesn't get to like a Joe Biden status where it's like, he's just completely washed and it's like, bro, just retire.
I think he knows when to let it go at some point.
And I'm sure he has the right circle to let him know.
I feel like it's gonna be hard, bro. Yeah. It's like it's too hard to think about that. It's like thinking about losing legends. Like imagine when we lose Bruce. You know, when Bruce is gone, and
I mean the same thing with what happened with Steve Jobs, right? Yeah. The whole upbringing with iPhone and shit like that, it eventually stopped. Opelix, I'm glad you're able to join the stream. Look, this motherfucker right here, Ed. This motherfucker knows boxing. He knows boxing. He's tapped in.
Opelix, quickly drop your take on Turkey and their one fight promotion in boxing because I like boxing. I wasn't really tapped in back then, but I've always been, you know, on like MMA, UFC. I love how it's ran. You know, obviously fighter pay is its own separate thing, but I love that they get to put on what they want to put on. So I just want like your quick take on it, your drop, because we kind of already talked about it.
Bro, this motherfucker gets detailed. He'll give us a good take. Just give him some time to really tap it out, bro. He loves boxing, bro. Like you talk about, I know you to be like, bless you.
Thank you.
I know you to be the UFC guy. This is my boxing guy. Yeah. So he knows. Yeah, he knows. The thing about boxing that kind of keeps it hard to really keep up with also too is the amount of weight classes there is.
Yeah.
Now I respect the weight classes. I respect that it's every 6 pounds or every 7 pounds there's a new weight class. More weight classes, great. But it just gets so much to an overwhelming amount that I'm just like, oh fuck. Okay, so there's welterweight, super middleweight, all this shit, and I'm just like, god damn, bro. Like it's so much to try to keep up with.
Yeah. I mean, you're right, bro, and it's like. There's a lot But the thing about that too is you can find a star in any weight class, you know. But also, I feel like becoming a star in boxing is much different than becoming a star in like MMA, UFC, because in boxing, I think the biggest way to become a star, or the only way, is to have that O. And to have that O for a long time, you know?
And that's a whole other fucking conversation.
And like Lomachenko, at one point, he was like pound for pound best fighter, right? And you know, he didn't really have the biggest record because he fought like 100 some amateur fights. He came into boxing. He came in already with kind of like a pedigree, so people followed him, you know, from the jump. And then I think after like his 6th or 7th fight, he became a champ. And then he got to like his 12th fight is when he suffered his first loss, Teofimo, and then, you know, he's at like 15, 16 wins, which is a lot different than other boxers where Gervonta, you know, he was like at 30 and 0. You know, Mayweather was like 50 and 0. Canelo was like 29 and 0 before he suffered his first loss. So it's like that, you really have to preserve it, because that's what's going to get people to tune in, because it's like they want to see somebody who's untouchable. And the reason why, because it divides people, right? Because somebody's like, this guy's really nice and he's untouchable. And, you know, other people just want to watch him fight to see him lose. Yeah. You know? And that's what it is. Like,
that's just the whole Mayweather business of it all. You know what I mean?
But it's like MMA is different because, like, for example, like Charles Oliveira, right? He's been in the UFC, bro, since he was like 20 years old, since like 2010, 2011, right? And he really didn't like get his path to stardom until like 2020. Yeah. And then he became champ, you know.
He had a good run.
10 years in the business, 8 losses, 9 losses, right? But it's like he became a champ the way he did it, and like people followed that, you know, and now he has the whole nation behind him, right? The country of Brazil, and now he has a fan base. Like, people respect it. Shout out Charles Oliveira. I love that boy, man. Like, he's just great fighter, great dude, and like, you know, his path, he didn't have to have that you know? We saw how he grew up in the cage, you know, and it's like you can discredit him for what he did, but he changed it. He turned it around.
Or like a good example is also too with like Nate Diaz. I mean, I know he never got to that stardom, but he had fucking almost 10 losses before he really blew up. He still has a
fan base. Yeah. And it's people still fuck with him.
At the end of the day, bro, it really comes down to
if you had a guy in boxing, like a 20 and 11 record, you really think people are gonna fuck with him like that? Fuck no, bro. It's like,
that's the sad part about it. Yeah, which is why I'm like, dude, I'm super happy the way that boxing is going. I was just saying earlier, whenever you were in here, I'm super glad that boxing is on the path that they're going, because it's gonna give people that fighter's chance. Yeah. Fighting is about losses and wins. I think it's primarily more about your losses. And whether it's in the ring or outside the ring, you're going to learn from them and you're going to really flourish from them. Unfortunately, like, there's a lot of people who get put on young, Charles Oliveira, Nate Diaz, who suffer through a lot of losses, but then eventually flourish whenever they can become older. Back. Yeah. And it could happen, which is why I'm super happy and I'm excited to see where it's going. Yeah. Not only that, bro, but a fucking local, Fresno 559, Jose Ramirez. Mark Castro, bro, these motherfuckers. Okay, Mark Castro just suffered his first loss.
He lost?
Yeah, he suffered his first loss, but I think the path that we're going is that he'll bounce back. Yeah, he'll be fine. Jose Ramirez, he's already suffered a few losses, but guess who he's fighting in fucking Times Square
on one of the biggest promoted cards.
Devin Haney versus Jose Ramirez. Respectfully,
that's crazy.
Shout out to 559. Shout out to Jose Ramirez, but I don't think he's gonna win. Respectfully. But the fact that they're still putting him up there, it shows people that, bro, like, it doesn't matter where you're at, bro. Fucking, he fought for the unified belts. I think, quote me if I'm wrong, but he fought Taylor. Yes. Yeah. He fought for the unified belts and Taylor beat him. And then after that, what did you tell me? Oh, he's done. He's done.
Because he lost that O, you know?
Yeah, he lost the O. He's done. But in reality, bro, it's like, he's a fucking dog, bro. Like,
but the thing is, too, it's like, at that time, with all this promotion shit, you know, it's like, I feel like he was undefeated because he was under that one umbrella. And that, where did he always fight?
Fresno.
The Save Mart Center, you know? And it's like, he was that guy. He was the guy to bring people into this regional crowd, you know? And it's like, now it's like he's able to elevate himself regardless of his losses, but because of his body of work. And now he's able to fight on the biggest stage you know, like, a lot of people really don't like that card. But I mean, I
fucking love it.
Yeah, you still got Devin Haney and fucking Jose Ramirez, and then you got Teofimo, and is it Ryan? Or is Tio fighting somebody else?
Tio. Let's just look it up. But it's easy.
Yeah, but you have all those names on that star-studded card, and he's kind of like the outlier, but at the same time, it's like, damn, like he's there, you know?
Yeah.
Just look at Boxing Times Square card.
I can bring this over.
Oh shit, I was fucking
hard.
Who do you got?
ESPN. Oh, so it's Rolly
and Ryan. There's 3 fights headlining. Rolly Romero, Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney, Jose Ramirez.
Let me put this on the big screen. Yeah, so we got Ryan Garcia versus Rolly. And this is another thing too about the odds that they're gonna figure out is that I'm pretty sure, like, dude, this is a big fight.
Yeah.
This could go either way. They're gonna eventually be able to filter out the odds.
Yeah.
Because I could see a Rolly winning this fight.
Yeah, because Ryan's careless a little bit.
Very. At a plus 500? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's ridiculous. A cool $5 on that.
And then Devin Haney minus.
You see what I mean?
Yeah. But then we've also seen Devin Haney become human.
Yeah.
And he lost.
Versus Ryan Garcia.
Yeah.
And then the main event is Teofimo
Arnold Barbosa.
Don't know who Arnold Barbosa is.
But the odds are closer there.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Dude, look, bro. At the end of it, Ed,
I think that's badass that they're fighting.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
This is like.
I heard it might be streaming on Netflix too.
I think so too. Yeah, we'll have to tap in with Netflix, but I'm sure it'll be a thing worth watching for. Bro, I don't fucking know. I think if you're a boxing fan, right now is the best time to be a boxing fan, bro. Yeah. Best fucking time, man. But real quick.
Well, because we're seeing all these.
Yeah, Ed. I mean, we got a lot to look forward to, bro. Again, if you're a big combat sports fan, you got to tap in. I'm glad that everybody's like knowing that the UFC and their way of that they're marketing and their thing that they're doing is like a legit league.
Yeah.
People are understanding that when it comes to combat sports, because this is going to open up the gateway for not only boxing, jiu-jitsu, sambo wrestling, maybe. There's going to be a lot of different outlets that people are going to want to tap into. In this case, I think the UFC is going to also like be the main pedigree.
Yeah.
But if you want to get paid, I'm sure boxing's probably the way to go.
Well, Dana said he didn't want none of his UFC fighters to fuck around with the boxing shit, even if it's under that promotion, you know?
Bro, UFC is like the biggest pedigree, in my opinion, that you get to, because that's a combination of all.
What I think too, I think in the hindsight, when you look down on it, is it's going to still be boxing, but I feel like the production value is just going to be so much better. Like production wise, like you're not going to see fucking, you know, intermissions of like 30 minutes, you know, like fucking an hour walkout.
Or you know also what we're not going to see anymore is that we're not going to have to pay for a pay-per-view just to see one fight.
Yeah.
Bro, I can't tell you
multiple fights.
Bro, I can't tell you enough times, bro, where like whenever I was a youngin' growing up and we would literally buy these pay-per-views just to watch one fight. And I would try to tap into the earlier fights and I'm like, where the fuck is everybody at?
Yeah.
Oh, this fight doesn't matter.
Yep.
How the fuck does it not matter, right? Yeah, you have UFC, bro, where like me and you, we're tapped in since the fucking early prelims, bro.
We're like, hey, this match is gonna be good.
Yeah, this is a young up and coming, bro.
The main card, this match is gonna be good.
Dude, I still remember vividly, bro. Vividly, whenever Paddy Pimblett made his UFC debut.
Yeah, we were on it.
We were on it.
Yeah.
I remember, bro, this was like a fight night.
You fought Luigi or something.
Yeah, this was a fight night, bro, and I was barely getting ready to smoke some meat, and this was like midday, 1-2 o'clock, and I'm like, all right, bro, like I'm like, fuck, oh shit, like I gotta put my shit aside, I gotta tap into this fight. I watched it clinic, bro, and I'm just like, there's gonna be moments like that, hopefully in boxing, that can happen.
Yeah,
that can happen, where somebody local fucking Richard Torres.
Yeah.
He's gonna finally get his big break on an undercard.
He's gonna go out to Dubai and make some cash, bruh.
Yeah.
To Riyadh season.
Shout out to Richard Torres, man. That guy's a fucking character.
He's a beast.
Yeah, he's fucking good.
But
all right, Ed, we're rolling on about an hour and a half. Probably gonna
chat.
Wanna wrap it up. So you got any final words to the viewers?
Tune in tomorrow. Alex Pereira, Magomed Ankalaev, Fizzy, and Justin Gagey. It's gonna be a good fight. Don't sleep on this card. I mean, you got a lot of guys. Prelims, Myron Santos. Tough winner, but I mean, overall, yeah, we got a lot to look forward to. What's beautiful about the UFC is like anybody in this card can be the next guy. Yeah. So tune in, do your research, guys, and yeah. Oh, Lakers, Celtics, that'll be something really good to watch. If you're in the area, 559 fights tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, 559 fights over here in the Visalia Convention Center. We're not paid. We're just huge fans, and we want to put on for the locals.
Yes, sir.
So, yeah, guys, until then, peace and drinking grease. Again, Ed, thank you for joining. We got to do this another time. I hope everybody has a great night.